Welcome back to another college football podcast. It's the RPO College Football Podcast. My name is Jerome Jones, and we are back. And I'm here with my man, the myth, the legend. You already know who he is, Mr. Ray Roberts. How you doing, sir?
I'm good, Jerome. How are you?
Doing good, man. Doing good. We're gonna talk some draft today. The draft is over. We did our mock drafts last week. We did, we got to see the draft. We did a live draft coverage. If you haven't seen that, definitely go see that on our YouTube channel. It was 4 hours long, so you might want to skip around sometime, but it was some good conversation. Avery and Sam did some great stuff. You can see my live reaction of some of these picks as well, so definitely go check that out if you can. But Ray, I want to hear some of your initial reactions. What was some of the things that you noticed that maybe something a little different from before or something?
You mean about the draft?
Yeah, in general.
I thought it was a decent draft. Of course, Miami didn't have a first round pick.
Yeah.
That kind of dampened it for me, at least the first night for me for a little bit. I think that there were teams that, since we're only going to talk about the first round, the Eagles had a really good first round. The Texans really stood out in the first round.
We're going to talk about them very early.
Yeah, they did some nice things. I mean, they paid for it too, so we'll see how everything works out. But they got their starting franchise quarterback and probably the best player in the draft. So good for them.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah,
besides that, I think that we'll go through it again, but I think certain teams didn't do great in the first round. I'll just leave it at that. But
I think I know who you're talking about, but go ahead.
But I mean, I just think what the thing is, Jerome, we're going to go through the first round, and there's going to be players that we like, players we didn't like. In the end, it doesn't really matter who we like and what position or where they were taken. If they can play, that's all people are going to care about in the end.
100%.
I mean, there's going to be one team where I'm going to knock, a player they took way too early, but again, it's going to be a good player. So,
Yeah, I mean, it happens every year. We'd be like, man, this good player got drafted before this player didn't get drafted, or blah, blah. It happens every year. Me and Ray does this almost every night, where we go back to an old draft, and you're like, what? He got drafted before him, and it always happens. So it's all, subjective right now because it's so early in the evaluation and see how they actually do in the NFL, But at the end of the day, give a couple of years. But we're gonna give our initial thoughts on it now because that's just what we do as football analysts. One thing I want to say before we get into it, the amount of trades, right? I did not expect the amount of trades in the draft in general. It was just a lot more trade. I was hearing a lot of rumors right before the draft that a lot of teams didn't want to trade up, and that's literally all you've been seeing, starting with the Texans, and we're going to talk about that. But the amount of trades, I think the trades is the most single-handed thing in the draft that makes it the most exciting, because it's like, oh, they're trading up for this, and then it kind of becomes a trickle effect because teams jump other teams that want a player there, and then that team might trade back, or they might reach on a player that they initially thought, maybe we could have got him later, but we hear nobody wants to trade down. There's a lot of that happens. So I just love that part of it. It just brings a drama to the draft, and I think it's fun to watch.
I think that the draft it was a good draft for moving up if you like somebody in the first round, because again, there was only so many players who I had first round grades on them. Yeah. So you see somebody moving up to get one of them. But again, and then once you get to like 15 and 16, then to me, you should try to move back a little bit if you can to pick more draft picks, especially if you could have traded a first pick this year for a first round pick this year for a first round pick next year. I would have definitely thought about that.
100%. No, I agree. So let's get right into it, man. We got a lot to talk about. We're gonna go pick by pick. Some of these we're gonna go fast, some of these are gonna go slow, but we're gonna talk about them. First one obviously is the Panthers selecting Bryce Young first overall. Now, Ray, I know you had a little bit of problem with this. It wasn't a huge problem, but you had a little issue with Bryce Young and his size and picking him first overall. So I'm gonna let you start off. What do you think about this pick with the Panthers taking Bryce Young over C.J. Stroud?
I think well, for one, when we had our mock draft last week, I had them taking Bryce Young because that's all I had heard. Here's the thing. Bryce Young's a talented player.
Yes.
I don't worry about him playing. It's kind of like the Tua thing. I don't worry about him playing. I know he can play. I don't worry about his, like people saying, oh, his short. Short doesn't matter if you find ways of finding passing lanes. And Bryce Young does that very well. 100%. But again, I am concerned about his weight. I am. I mean, I think you're a 200-pound quarterback, and you could argue, well, they don't really let you hit quarterbacks anymore. No, but, I mean, look at Jalen Hurts. He was fine the whole year, probably playing at an MVP level, and then he has that one spot where he gets fallen on, and it costs him like 3 games, whatever it was. Now, again, not a big deal, but what happens if that would have been the last game of the season? Say the Eagles needed that win, and then he plays the last game of the season and it happens. Then is it a big deal?
Yeah.
And this guy's even smaller than Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts is a solid 210. This guy's 195 pounds. And I think he weighed in at like 202 at the combine or something like that. So he probably had been trying to put on a little weight. What's going to happen in the middle of the football season when he's 190 pounds?
Yeah.
That's my concern. I mean, again, I'm not concerned about him not being able to play, but I do have some durability concerns. I do.
Yeah, I mean, again, we already talked about it before the combine. I thought that, with him being a little slight, if he came to the combine and was at least like 15 pounds heavier, I was going to be like, all right, I'm fine with it. I'll take him because his ability is there. It is the part that he is a tiny guy. And Ray, I sent you a photo of him, and I was trying to get it on here, but I don't think I have it. He was standing next to what's his name? Brian Burns. Oh my goodness, the size difference is crazy. Like, it reminded me of the photo of Mark Ingram and Derrick Henry standing next to each other. That's pretty much how.
No, this is a picture. I don't know if everybody can see it or not, but
yeah. There you go. That's good.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, and Brian Burns is only 6'3", 6'4", maybe.
Yeah.
So he kind of looks like he's 5'9". But again, I'm not going to play devil's advocate and say, oh, well, no, the kid's a good player.
100%.
And if you keep him healthy, he'll be fine. But I hope he's like Russell Wilson's man, where he has eyes in the back of his head. That's all I want to say.
Yeah. I agree. All right, let's get to our next pick. With the Texans at number 2, I don't think this is a big surprise for me, but a lot of people thought it was a big surprise because a lot of rumors were swirling that the Texans didn't have the biggest, crush on the CD Stroud. Didn't really think that he was the guy. I thought that was ridiculous hearing that, but CJ Stroud going to the Texans, I seen that coming. I put that in playing my mock drafts as well. Ray, what do you think about that one?
I think it was a great pick. I think he's the best quarterback in this draft. I do. I think that just goes to prove one thing: when you hear rumors around draft time, don't believe any of it. None of it's true.
Nope.
None of it's true, man. None of it's true. I mean, like, for one, everybody in NFL is very hush mouth, especially around draft time.
Oh yeah.
So when they let information leak out, that's exactly what they did. They leaked out information they wanted people to have. That's all it is. You can't believe anybody when it comes to draft time, dude. Like, I'll be honest with you. If I were drafting players, I'm not telling anybody who I'm drafting. No. I'm not even sure I would tell my owner.
I mean, tip it. I would just be like, you know what? We're going to draft the best player. My fans will be so mad at me saying that over and over again.
And I know a coach would have a problem with me because I'd be like, yo, man, who do you like in this draft? And I would take their opinions on who they like. And then I would be like, well, I'm thinking one of these 3 guys. What do you think about that? And then in the end, I'm making my selection. Like, the one thing I like Miami's GM, Chris Greer. I think he's a good player. I think he's a good evaluator of talent. I think he's a smart guy. I do. My only problem with him is I hear like he takes a lot of input from the coaches.
Mm-hmm.
That's fine, but you can't let the coach decide.
Overrun.
If you don't like somebody or you don't think a guy is worth drafting in that spot, you can't let the coach influence you. Because in the end, the coach it's your job, not his. That's my only thing. Like I hear a lot of stuff now about, well, Brian Flores wanted this guy. Brian Flores is the coach. He gets to coach the players that I put on the field. That's all there is to it.
Yeah. No, I agree. No, I definitely agree with that. You gotta go by with the.
I mean, I'll be honest, Jerome. I probably wouldn't tell the coach until like 5 minutes before the pick who I was actually going to take.
Hey, why not?
All that coach needs to do is tell one wrong person, and then everybody in the league knows who we're taking. No thanks.
100%, 100%. Well, let's get to the next pick in the draft, and I think this shook up the draft. I seen a team possibly trading up. I did not see this team trading up to get Will Anderson. As soon as I seen two quarterbacks, I was like, all right, Will Anderson's probably gonna go here in the third spot. I was expecting the team that was there, which was the Cardinals, to stay there and grab this guy, but Texans trade up, give the farm away to get Will Anderson. Like you said earlier, Ray, showing up the quarterback position and probably the best player in the draft, and happens to be on defense where they got a defensive-minded coach over there, Ryan, D'Amico Ryans.
D'Amico Ryans.
Yeah. Ray, first, what do you think about the trade? Was it a lot? Too much? And we think about the fit.
I don't know because he's a foundation piece, man.
Mm-hmm.
And again, this is a guy that's worth trading up for.
Yeah.
So now you have your foundation piece on offense and on defense. Now you just need to build around them. That's all. I mean, I love the move. I thought it took a lot of guts.
Yeah.
And it showed you how valuable of a player he is. I'll be honest with you, Jerome. We're going to get to who was picked later in the draft. There are two players on defense that were head and shoulders above probably everybody else in this draft. I mean, I gave the Panthers a B- for the Bryce Young pick, only because I would have taken Stroud. I'm going to be honest with you. But I only gave the Stroud pick a B+ because he's not the top 3 player in the draft.
Yeah.
I gave the Texans an A. Bold move. You get the best edge defender that's come out of football in like 5 or 10 years.
Yeah. This is the thing. I agree with that. I agree that you got to go get your guy. And the thing that I will say about it is that you don't know how next year is going to go. We see this every draft. There might be a player to get injured. There might be a player that don't play as well. There might be whatever. There's a whole bunch of situations. A situation that happened with Jalen Carter. There's situations that always happen. So you never know going to the next draft. You know how this draft is, and you know who's in this draft, and you know the players that you evaluated this year. There's a guy that is like a Will Anderson. I hate this word, and I use it super loosely. But people are saying this guy is a generational talent. If you got a guy that is that good, go get him. Go get him. Especially after you just got your quarterback and you get a guy that's not a quarterback that you get in there. Well, go grab him. I agree with that. The only thing I'll say about that, the negative, is that the Texans are not going to be good this year. The Cardinals are most likely not going to be good this year. So with that being said, the Cardinals might have 1 and 2 next year, which is going to that would be crazy.
They probably will. But here's the other thing though. They really needed to trust the offensive line.
Yeah.
And it showed that they know that by moving up back up from 11 to 6. So good for them. I mean, I think, and here's the reason why I love it. The one debate people had with them taking Stroud was, well, Will Anderson's the best player in the draft, or one of the top 2 players in the draft. Mm-hmm. You have a chance to get him, so go get him. So they got both.
Yeah.
Great move. Great move. Excuse me one minute.
All right, cool. But yeah, I think that was the Will Anderson pick was a really good pick. I think that, I'm gonna take him off real quick, but the Will Anderson thing was great. You get 2 players for the price of one. Not for the price of one. You paid a lot of money. You paid not money, but you paid money too, because the contract is gonna be very, very steep. But you got a top 1, 2, maybe even 3 player. You got the second best quarterback, and Ray thinks he's the best. I know I'm a Michigan guy. I got my bias against Ohio State. I get to watch them a little bit more. There's little things about him that irks me, but outside of that, he's a really good player. If if Bryce Young wasn't there, head and shoulders, he'd be the best player in this draft. Best quarterback at least. So I think that hey, if you're gonna go grab your guy, go grab your guy. You know, get both of them. Worry about the picks later. Don't worry about them now. And honestly, the Texans still got a lot of picks. So I mean, the Deshaun Watson trade allowed them to get a lot of picks. So they gave up a lot, but they had a lot already. So they're gonna be fine. They're gonna be fine. Let's get to our next pick, which is the Colts taking Anthony Richardson. It's right in my face. Anthony Richardson. I can't talk today. Ray, what do you think about this pick?
I think it's a bold pick. It's way too risky for me, though.
It's way too risky, but the thought of it working out makes me excited.
I'm excited about it to see what happens.
We talked about this. Him and Jonathan Taylor. Stop. And you got the same guy that coached Jalen Hurts. Like
my only problem with it is that they're gonna have to be really patient with him, man. Like really patient.
Yeah, they're gonna. Yeah.
I hope they realize that they have to be really patient with him.
But you know what? I can see them being patient with him. You think about all the quarterbacks that haven't done well for the Colts. They've all been players that they did not draft. I mean, I mean, obviously before. I mean, I'm talking about post, Peyton Manning. But it was Peyton Manning. They had Andrew Luck, and then after that, they didn't have nobody that they really drafted. It was just guys they getting off the streets and picking up. So this is their first quarterback that they drafted high to come in and be that franchise guy. I feel like they're gonna be patient with him because of so much of the turnover of the guys they've been trying to bring in. I mean, they had who was before Carson Wentz?
Phil Rivers.
They have Phil Rivers 1 year, got him from the Chargers. Then they had Carson Wentz 1 year, got him from the Eagles. Then they had Matt Ryan last year, 1 year, got him from the Falcons. I feel like they're tired of it. They just want to get a franchise guy. They want to bring him in. So I think they'll be patient. Like the problem is they've been patient the last 4 years. I think they'll be okay with let him develop for some time.
I think they felt like they were a good team and they had a chance to win the playoffs. Mm-hmm. That's why they kept going the veteran route, I think.
And I understand that.
Changing coaches gives them the opportunity to start new. Mm-hmm. Here's the only thing I would say about this. If I were the Colts and I wanted to draft Anthony Richardson, I would have moved back to do it. I wouldn't have taken him before. That's all.
But Ray, I don't know if he would have been there though. At that point,
okay. I mean, again, I'm just telling you, I like the boldness of the pick. I'm a little afraid of it.
Yeah. You didn't have to move up, move down. I think if a team if they would have been like you were a trade back, somebody would have traded up to get him. So, I mean, and then you are seeing the fall of the quarterback since that point.
The only team I think that really would have maybe thought about it was the Falcons. Maybe.
I think the Raiders might have too.
Ruined that kid in 2 years, man.
Oh yeah.
That's what I mean, though. That's what I mean about you got to be patient with him, dude. He's a talented player, without doubt. Correct. He's a phenomenally athletic player, but you better be patient with him because you can put him out of the league in 3 years if you're not.
100%. But the other thing too is like the type of players they got around him, like what's his name from USC? Their wide receiver, Michael Pittman. Big body wide receiver. You can go down there, play action. You got the running back. The offensive line should be better still. We'll see about how that goes. But I think, dude, like I don't think there's a better fit, honestly, outside of. I think Colts was the fit for him. Honestly, just thinking about.
I do because I think they're going to run similar system to what the Eagles are
And they are
running. And
they're able to.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
He's just so raw, man.
No, I get
He
you.
is. Yeah.
Okay. All right. We got the Seahawks taking, and I think this was the surprise of the draft for me, taking Devin Witherspoon. Love the pick, love the player. I was very surprised by with some other players being on the board, and Devin Witherspoon being drafted so high. Ray, what you thought about this pick?
They went completely away from what I would have done, but I like Devin Witherspoon. I gave it a solid B as a grade. I think that he's a good player. He fits what they do on defense, so that's fine.
Yeah.
I would have went with a lineman, but again, that's me.
Yeah, I agree. I think that for me, I'll give it a high grade too. I don't want to do the grade thing in this mock draft myself.
Yeah.
I'm gonna wait a little bit, but I love the pick and I love the player. I love the team. I love the fit for him. I just didn't see it happening because Tyreek Woolen played very well. Could have been defensive player of the year. I mean rookie of the year, defensive rookie of the year. And I was really advocating for him to have it. And then you got Kobe Bryant, who played very well on the opposite side. I would have thought they would have at least wanted to see how that kind of go a little bit. But and don't get me wrong, Kobe Bryant is not Devin Witherspoon at all.
No.
He's got it's gonna need to develop still, but he played well enough considering he was a rookie and he played against some really good guys in that conference. So I thought that they was gonna kind of ride him out. I still thought they would have got a corner at some point in this draft, not this early. But hey, like I said, I love the pick, I love the player, I like the fit. It just that it kind of surprised me a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
All right, cool. Yep. All right, number 6, we got the Cardinals who traded down, back up player to get to 6. Paris Johnson, the guy from Ohio State. Ray, what do you think about this pick?
Great pick. Phenomenal pick.
Yeah.
Awesome offensive lineman. Solid B+ is a grade. I think that and I've done my share of bashing Kyler Murray. I have. Mm-hmm. But I was kind of encouraged that they were asking him for input in the draft, and he was giving it to them. And he was smart enough to tell him to take an offensive lineman. I like that. So, I mean, usually a quarterback will want a new toy to play with. No, he understands, man, I got to be kept upright if I want to be a good player. It's a great pick. And again, I'm encouraged that Kyler Murray was smart enough to tell them that, we need to address the offensive line before we go anywhere else. So, 100%. Again, I wish he would stop playing video games. No, I'm just kidding. I was encouraged by the fact that they asked and he gave them, yes, let's address the offensive line. Because that's really, if you can't win up front, man, you can't win. Period.
I agree. The thing to me, I think made this pick even better is that they keeping what's his name? Man, what is wrong with me today? I can't think of names. DeAndre Hopkins.
Oh.
He's staying in the building. I think that make this piece. I know it's not. It shouldn't be equal, but like it helps. You know what I mean? Like knowing, your receiver staying there, your number one receiver staying there, and you're giving your quarterback protection. I think that makes it even more of a better pick. Looking at it like now.
I think that the Cardinals need to rebuild their whole roster, though. So I would not be surprised if DeAndre Hopkins does not stay there. But we'll see.
We'll see about around draft time. I mean, trade time.
We'll see. Yep.
All right, number 7. The Las Vegas. I was about to call them Oakland. Las Vegas Raiders. Man, they've been in the Las Vegas Raiders for a while. I shouldn't be calling them Oakland. Grabbing Tyree Wilson here. Ray, what do you think about this pick?
I don't agree with it, but I think he's a solid player. I gave him a solid B,
Mm-hmm.
B minus for the draft pick. He's a nice, solid player. Honestly, Jerome, after if you okay, the Colts needed to take quarterback. I agree with that. They needed to get to address the quarterback position. Anybody that drafted after pick 4 that didn't take Jalen Carter made a mistake.
I agree. I agree. Yeah. I thought it was gonna be the next 2 picks that Jalen Carter was gonna be
So
off
did
the
I. I
board,
thought
and he didn't. And listen, you're right. You're 100% right. I do like I do like the pick though, right?
no, I
Um,
like the pick. I like the
yeah,
fit. I
yeah,
think when the next coach is hired, they're gonna probably have a nice little player to work with.
yeah. The only thing is, I feel like the Raiders needed like the Raiders definitely need pass rush. I mean, the only guy they have is Max Crosby, and I think pairing him up with Max Crosby would be amazing. You know, I just
Imagine
think
that what
that
Max Crosby would do with Jalen Carter pushing the pocket, though.
that's what I was about to say. That too, and then I just think that the Raiders. I don't know. It was some other needs I think they could have gone with. Um, the fact that they didn't get a quarterback at all in this draft worried me just a little bit, just because I thought that in again maybe not here. I thought maybe Will Levis would probably go here, maybe. But I don't know. I just feel like going to the season with Garoppolo as your number 1 guy, and don't get me wrong, he can win games. He's just been injury prone lately, so it just kind of like worries me that they going into it with just him. So that's gonna be interesting. That's gonna be interesting. But I love the pick. And I I'm not gonna ding any team super hard on not taking Jalen Carter. Again, I would have did it, but at the same time, it's like, what do teams feel about the off field stuff? You get what I'm saying? So
Yeah,
we don't
man.
know. We don't know how they feel about that. So in that case, I don't want to ding a team too much on it, because again, he did have some off field stuff. It was late in the draft process, so it's kind of hard to be like, oh no, you're terrible for not getting him. Yeah and no. You get what I'm saying? Like, you don't know how they feel about the off field stuff. So
Yeah, but you're an NFL team, man. We don't know how to feel about it because we're not talking to the kid.
that's true.
I mean, we're talking to him. I mean, like honestly, man, you can see that he has genuine, like like he's upset about what happened.
100%.
So I mean, the kid made a mistake, man. I mean, I know it was a big mistake. I do, man. I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm sitting here, and it's just someone lost their life. I mean, it's a huge mistake. But if he were like a real troubled person, again, that's the kind of stuff you need to find out. And maybe, like you said, Ron, maybe the Raiders didn't feel comfortable making the pick there. Yeah, man, that's fine.
Yeah.
They got Tyree Wilson. I think he's going to be a solid player. It's a
100%.
difference. I don't think he's going to be special though. I think he's solid.
Yeah. But
But
I
he's
think he's
a
gonna be
special
good.
player.
I think he's gonna be good for Max Crosby, though. I think he's gonna be good for him. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, all right, next pick. Number 8, the Falcons taking Bijan Robinson. I'm gonna go first on this because as an Eagles fan, I know that a lot of Eagles fans wanted Bijan. I'm not upset that he didn't fall to the Eagles. I'm more like, why the Falcons? I was a little. I don't hate the pick. The kid is a great running back, and if you're gonna do that, get a guy that's gonna be a difference maker. You get what I'm saying? But my thing is, like, you had a good running back there, and this is a team that kind of needs like a lot, especially on O. I think they needed somebody on O line. Honestly, I probably would have got O line with the guys that are still on the board. But I don't know. I'm feeling conflicted about this one. How you feel, Ray?
It's a horrible pick. It's a D.
Ooh, give him a D. Wow.
Jerome, it's not a player of need.
Mm-hmm.
It's not an impact player. He's not an impact player. Not when you have needs on offensive and defensive line.
Yeah.
He's not an impact player.
Yeah.
And that's why the Falcons are the Falcons. Maybe DeMarcus is right.
LaMarcus.
I'm sorry. Maybe he's right.
you sound just like him when you said that. Like
it's a horrible pick.
You guys, it seemed like you just had both have his transcript and you're just reading off the same thing. Because you sound just like him.
I haven't spoken to him since last week's mock draft, so that's not happening. So no, that's
I don't hate the pick because I really like Bijan Robinson. I think he's a really good player.
He's an excellent talent, man. In 7 years from now, he'll be out of the league, and the Falcons will be no different than they are right now.
Yeah. Like, see, and this is why I was like kind of sipping the tea on like the Eagles getting them, because if you're gonna do that, at least be a complete team before you do that. You get what I'm saying?
Correct. Yes.
Like, that's why I was like, you know what? If he's there at 10 and the Eagles are there and staring him in the face, and there's not, and I did say this. I was like, if it's Jalen Carter or Bijan Robinson, I'm taking Jalen Carter. But if it goes the way how our mock draft was before,
right? If Jalen Carter was going at 7 or 8, I got you. I
would have took Bijan there over the offensive line, because I think our offensive line is actually pretty good still.
Well, I'm going to say this again. The Eagles were never going to take Bijan Robinson in the top 10.
Oh, I know, right? Never. I don't know. They
here's a part of it.
After the fact, they're acting like they wouldn't. But
here's a part of it you're going to like, though. That's why the Eagles are the Eagles, and they pretty much consistently win, and the Falcons are the Falcons.
Definitely. And let's talk about the Eagles at number 9.
Sorry, man.
Let's go, man. That was like literally my reaction right there when the Eagles got Bijan Carter. Okay, yeah. Jalen Carter at number 9. I was ecstatic about it. I know they did trade up one spot, and I'm gonna ask you about that part, right? Trading up one spot, losing the 4th round of next year. When I don't know if the Bears was gonna take him there, or I'll ask you in a second. But when the Eagles got on the clock and took Jalen Carter, boy, I was ecstatic. I mean, right. I was. That's why I said, if he would have fell down to the Eagles, I would have been 100%. That's go get Jalen Carter at 10. He was there at 9, went up one spot. I'm 100% okay with it. Ray, I think I know how you feel about the pick. Before you get to the pick, what do you feel about the trade up one spot, though?
The only thing that kind of maybe makes sense is that the Bears had 2 teams on the line, the Eagles and somebody else that were going to do the same thing to get Jalen Carter, and the Eagles gave up a little bit more to get it done. So they went.
It might not even been the fact that they gave up more, but the fact that the Bears only had to slide down one spot.
Yes, that's also
get another pick. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, they still get their offensive lineman if they want. Yes.
Yeah.
And of course, you already had Paris Johnson go, so they really knew that there was probably only 1 or 2 offensive linemen they wanted in that spot, so they wanted to make sure they got him. That makes sense, also, Jerome. I mean, you don't want to ask what I think about taking Jalen Carter, right, man? I mean, he's probably the second best player in the draft. Maybe some people say he's first.
Yeah. It was before the whole allegations went out. It was a real debate that Jalen Carter was better than Will Anderson.
I mean, and I wouldn't argue with it, man, because as much as I like pocket quarterbacks to throw from the pocket, a guy like this quarterbacks hate. They hate that pressure up the middle, dude.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that never bothered Tom Brady was pressure up the middle.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't care if you rushed him from the edge. He knew where you were coming from.
And I think that's why the Eagles were so successful against him. The Eagles were pretty successful against Tom Brady.
And the Giants, because the Giants always have good defensive line depth. Yeah. And they always just send pressure from different spots through the A and B gap. I mean, like, it's that simple. I mean, it's really not hard to figure out. You have a pocket quarterback. I mean, he's as good as athletic as some of the quarterbacks are in the league right now. If you get that immediate pressure off the snap from up the middle, that's going to affect your game, man. I don't care who you are.
And I'm going to add a little bit to that with the next Eagles pick. So I'm just going to leave that as a spoiler. But let's get to our next one so we don't spend too much time on the Eagles because we're going to talk about them again. Let's get to number 10, the Bears selecting Darrell Wright at offensive line at number 10. Ray, what do you think about this pick?
Solid B. I think he's a good player.
Yeah.
It's fine. I mean, like again, he was one of the guys. I did have and I thought like late first round, early second.
Yep.
But again, Tennessee needed an offensive lineman. They saw a guy that the Bears needed an offensive lineman. They saw the guy they wanted. They went and got him. That's fine.
Yeah. I think I'm okay with the pick. Very athletic guy. He's still a little raw. But again, who isn't in this draft though? I mean, it's an NFL draft. These are all rookies. So I had him around as what you had him, Ray. Late to early second round pick. I was just a little surprised he went over Peter Skoronsky. I would say his name wrong.
I think Skoronsky's a better prospect. I think some people view him as a guard, though.
Yes, and I think that was the issue, that people were seeing him as a guard. So once I heard that, I was like, all right, I get it. So yeah, I didn't hate the pick at all. I just thought maybe a little early. I think they could have still traded down and still got him a little bit longer, but you never know also too. So let's go to number 12. The Tennessee Titans selecting Peter Skoronsky. We just talked about him. Ray, what do you think about this pick?
Good player, good pick. Solid B plus move. I like Skoronsky. I think he's a good player. I would argue that after Paris Johnson, he's probably the best offensive lineman in the draft. 100%. So that was my only thing with the Bears draft and Darnell Wright. I probably would have went Skoronsky. And I'm just surprised because he's a Northwestern kid. You would think they would have a lot of good film on him.
Exactly. Yeah.
But again, man, they got their guy. The Titans got their guy, so both of them did fine.
Yeah. What do you think? Well, do you think he's going to be a tackle though, Ray?
I do think he's talented enough to play tackle. I do think he needs to put on 15 pounds of muscle before he's really ready to be a down-the-down tackle, though. I do. Yeah. I worry about him being a little light. He's a solid 6'4" and something, 315. So that's why if you look at Darnell Wright, he's 6'6", 335, 340. He looks more like a left tackle than Skoronsky does.
Yeah.
So I think Skoronsky will play. I think it may take him a little bit more time to get on the field than Darnell Wright, though. I do.
Oh, yeah. Definitely. All right, let's get to our next pick because I know Ray hated this pick. He hated this pick, and we talked about it before we got on during the draft. The Lions taking Jahmyr Gibbs at number 12. Go ahead.
There's only two teams that got D's on me in the first round for me, and they were both teams that took running back way too early. Here's the thing. I love Jahmyr Gibbs. I do. But you can't team player value, position value, you can't take him in the top 20 picks. Mm-hmm. I mean, like, again, though, you know what? We're talking about Detroit. One step forward, two steps backwards.
Yeah, I like the player. I like I actually like the fit. I thought it was initially I thought it was weird because they had DeAndre Swift. I'm like, dude, they're like almost the same player.
No, my thing is though, Jerome. As soon as that pick was made, I'm like, and I had heard before that they were not big on Swift, DeAndre Swift.
Yeah, I heard.
My first thought was they're going to trade Swift. I didn't know it was going to be the Eagles, but I was like, they're going to trade DeAndre. They're going to trade him.
I'm not mad.
It's funny. Where I work. There's a guy who's actually Swift's cousin.
Really?
Yes. He's also a Lions fan. He's not happy about it. Oh. But he always told me that Swift would come out and play with the Eagles eventually.
Okay.
Told me that years ago.
I obviously DeAndre Swift is from Philadelphia. I'm glad he's with us. He did have some injury issues though. He did.
That's why they were down on him.
Yeah.
But you know what? In the Eagles' backfield, where he's going to share carries anyway, man.
I was about to say that. I was about to say that. And hey, the Eagles got front row seats to seeing how he played because he torched us last year.
That first game.
Torched us.
He was amazing. Well, he's a talented player, man.
100%.
I mean, I honestly, if you remember, Jerome, when they come out in 2020, I had him and Jonathan Taylor as my A and B, man. Like, I was like, if you have a multiple offense where you want to run stretch read, you want a guy that can catch the ball, DeAndre Swift is your guy. If you're on a power offense, Jonathan Taylor is your guy. But I really like both of those guys coming out.
100%. Yeah, and dude, I would have loved the Eagles to get him at 30. He went 12. Jameer Gibbs, I'm saying, rather. But Deontay, I just said Swift reminds me. It had some of the same traits as Gibbs. Swift is more injury prone. So I like you say, being able to have him in the backfield, rotating some of those guys in and out. I think
here's the thing,
and
that's what I'm talking about. Like, if you look at Detroit, they're probably, if they heard what I said, like, yeah, well, you don't understand. We're gonna have him now and David Montgomery, and it's going to be a nice lightning and thunder. I get all of that, but you're still talking about taking a running back who, after 5 to 7 years, will be out of the league, and you're not going to re-sign him.
Yeah.
So what are you doing at 12?
That was very.
If you're going to do that, you have to move back, because even if you move back to 18 or 19 and he's not there, so you just take the next best player. If you're going to use a top 15 player to draft a running back, then what are you doing?
Yeah. No, I agree.
1 step forward, 2 steps backwards. It's a shame. I root for the Lions. I like their coach. I think they have a good fan base. I feel sympathy for them, but this is why they never win.
Yeah. I'm gonna circle around that pick again with their next pick once it gets there. But let's talk about the next pick, because this is my money pick. I had one last year when was it last year when y'all got the Dolphins got the edge rusher. What's his name? What's your edge rusher name? The guy from Miami. Phillips.
Oh, yeah. That was 2 years ago.
That was 2 years ago?
Years ago.
I did one last year too, when I was like, this player is going to this team, and it happened. And it happened here. Packers taking Lucas Van Ness. I called this. I was like, dude, this is such a Packer pick. What do you think about this one, Ray?
Good player.
Yeah.
Good solid pick. B minus. I mean, I the only thing I would say is he's more of an energy player than a consistent true pass rusher.
Mm-hmm.
But I think he's a good player.
Yeah.
It's a good solid pick. I mean, again, now we're getting down to where how many guys really have first round grades that we're going to be taking now.
Yeah. No, I agree. It was a little. I knew this was going to happen. It was a little rich for me because when I did have the Packers picking them, it was at 15. So it was just a little rich, and considering some of the players that's still on the board. But hey, I think it was a good pick. I liked them. I had the Packers getting Lucas Van Ness in my mount, so I don't hate it at all. Next pick, we got the Steelers taking Broderick Jones, trading up to get him right here. Ray, what do you think about this, Ray?
Good move. Beat Puss. Good solid move. I mean, and this is why the Steelers are the Steelers. Mm-hmm. I mean, they had a horrible year last year. They were still 9-8. People thought they were going to – Mike Tomlin may have his first losing season since he got – no. Mike Tomlin's a good coach. The Steelers are a good, solid – they're very much like the Eagles and all the other teams that are winning now. Right? You build up front, man. It's that simple. Mm-hmm. Like, I mean, man, I value running. I value every position on the field. But if you don't win up front, everything else is just like frilly flowers, man. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, I liked it. They needed offensive line. They've been really bad on offensive line the last couple of years. They got a franchise quarterback in there with little hands. I thought you were gonna laugh a little bit harder on that one, right?
Small hands. I'm never going to be a big fan of that guy, but I think
I advocated for Pickett. That was the pick. Well, that was obvious. Pickett going to the Steelers. I that was the pick I got last year.
I'm not. Yeah. Kenny Pickett played better than I thought he would. He looked like he's a solid player, but again, it doesn't surprise me. He's coached well.
Mm-hmm.
He's with a team that builds their teams the right way. You know.
Yeah, definitely. All right, let's get to the Jets. Jets selecting Will McDonald at 15. Ray, I didn't like this pick.
I don't like the pick either, but I'm glad because I don't like the Jets. So,
So that's an A for you.
I gave him a C because I'm not crazy. I think Will McDonald is very scheme specific.
Yeah.
I think that
At 15, that's rich. And that, like,
way
there's a
too
lot
low.
of good edge rushers still on the board, and we'll talk about that. But
He is a guy who, and this is my number one rule. No, in my draft mind, nobody goes from a 4th-round pick to a 1st-round pick, dude. No one. I don't care who they are. Before the season started, Will McDonald was a 4th-round pick.
mm-hmm.
Now I could see him moving up into the 2nd round, but not the 1st. And here's the thing: the Jets are going to
get me too. That always worries me too.
Jets coach I like, and I know he'll find a way. This is what I said to you before: if you're going to overdraft somebody, overdraft an offensive or a defensive lineman, because you can draft a tackle who you move into guard. You can draft an edge rusher, and maybe you don't get. Maybe he's not an every down player. A Mike Mamula gives you 7, 8, 9 sacks, even though he's a horrible pick. You draft a cornerback, Noah Igbenogany, you can't even get on the field.
No, I agree.
But if I have a guy who's an edge guy, he may only be a 1st and 2nd down guy, run guy, and you may have to replace him with an edge guy who's a pass rusher. But at least I'm getting some production out of him.
Yeah, true. No, I agree. All right, at number 16, the Commanders take Emmanuel Forbes right there. And this is one of the ones I laughed at. Because remember our mock draft, right? Sam had Emmanuel Forbes going to the Giants. They didn't take him, and actually got a better choice in my opinion. But the Commanders get Forbes instead, keeping him in our division, and it just makes me so happy to see Forbes going against AJ Brown.
Not for 2 years, you won't be. He may be out there, but he's not going to be playing them. Dude, he needs to gain 15 pounds.
100%.
Before he can be an every down player.
Right
now, he's a nickelback.
160.
That's craziness.
That's crazy.
Right now, he's a nickel or a dime back. I mean, don't get me wrong. That's fine.
Yeah.
But not in the 1st round.
Yeah.
Not in the middle of the 1st round.
Not when you need corners like really badly.
I mean, you could have taken. There's like 2 or 3 other guys you could have taken before him.
Yeah.
Or you could have taken a player, a skilled player that on offense that you really need to help out your offense. I mean, I don't. But that's why the Washington football team is the Washington football team. It seems like centuries ago since Joe Gibbs had them playing good football. It really does.
Yeah, I remember those days, man. The Joe Gibbs days made me not hate the Commanders as much as I probably should. Because, there was a fun team to watch at that point, and in my eyes, at least.
Like that, honestly, Jerome, I hated that Redskin team. I hated when they beat Miami in the Super Bowl one year.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, okay, well, I never forget, man. Well, anyway, I hated that team. But you know what, man? Great offensive line, great defensive line, great coach.
Yep.
I mean, and here's the thing about Joe Gibbs. Like, I'm not talking about the Joe Gibbs that went back to Washington for a year and a half under Daniel Snyder and said, I got to get the heck out of here. I remember the Hall of Fame guy that was there in the 70s and early 80s.
I feel like the other guy didn't have his head on straight. He was thinking about other stuff.
Right. 3 Super Bowls with 3 different quarterbacks. How many coaches can say that?
True. Very true. Very, very true. All right, let's get to our next pick, which I think might be, outside of the Eagles pick, might be the still of the draft.
Agreed. Of course, I hate the team that took him.
Christian Gonzalez going to the Patriots. Ray, yeah, man. How you feel about that, man? They need listen. With your receivers, they needed somebody, man.
I gave 1, 2, 3, 4 A's. They were one of them. The Eagles were the only A+ team, by the way.
Ooh.
4 A's, but they were one of them. They got, again, Christian Gonzalez is exactly what the Patriots need. Actually, a guy who probably very soon will be a starting standout cornerback for the Patriots. And I'm not going to like it, but it is what it is. Again, they got it. They got probably the second half of the first round. They probably got the best player on that was there. He was, again, they managed to have the 17th pick and still got one of the few players that I have a first round talent on.
Yeah,
or great, I should say.
Yeah. They did well. You said they traded down, right? I think there was a team that traded the Steelers, if I'm not mistaken. So they got extra pick and still got one of the best players in the draft. So I thought that was amazing that they were able to do that. And again, like I said, they got to go against Tyreek Hill. They got to do Waddle. They got to do what's his name in Buffalo? Man, Stephon Diggs. So yeah,
I'm gonna be honest with you, dude. He'll be okay with Stephon Diggs. No one can guard Tyreek Hill, dude. Nobody. You can't cover him, dude. He's like the Flash, brother. You can't cover him.
You got bracket covering that guy the entire game.
It's just funny. And I don't want to talk too much about the Dolphins because they didn't even have first round pick. But man, there is so much speed on that offense right now. It's friggin' scary, dude.
Yeah. Congrats, man.
Man, don't congratulate me, dude. I made the playoffs one time in the last 10 years. Come me a break. It's not go crazy, but the amount of speed between Hill and Waddle and now a chain and Robbie Anderson and Moster, who's a 4-3 guy. Man, that's a fast team.
I agree. Yeah, you got a good one over there, man. You got a good one. And well, Christian McCaffrey might have his. I keep calling him Christian McCaffrey. Christian Gonzalez gonna have his hands full going over there. So
but again, I think he's really good, and the Patriots got themselves a steal. So correct. Let's move on to why the Lions are the Lions.
Let's do it.
I mean, I love Jack Campbell. I do. I think he's an excellent football player. I do.
I actually thought, and I said this in our mock draft, I was like, no linebackers going in the first round. And there was one, it would have been him. But I would have thought like 30, 31, something like that. Somebody trade in to get him or trade down to get him. I didn't think he was going to go this high. This is way too high. And you know what? The thing I was going to say earlier, Ray, the Lions are drafting like old school team.
They are.
First round running back, first round linebacker.
Again, man, in 1980, these picks were fine.
Yeah.
But not in today's football.
And don't get me wrong, I think both players are going to do really, really fine.
That's the thing that annoys me. I think they're both going to be good.
Yeah.
But you didn't get value for the positions you drafted.
Exactly.
That's all. I mean, I gave Jack Campbell a B- only because I thought that you drafted him way too early.
Yeah.
The kid's a good player, man. Right. I wanted Miami to try to take him, but I thought he'd be there in the second round. I'm not going to lie about it.
Yeah. No, I agree. All right, let's get to the next pick. The Buccaneers getting Kalijah Kancey. I would say this kind of surprised me just a little bit. I guess it was totally off my radar. What do you think about this one, Ray?
I'm not a fan.
Not either. Like, I don't hate it, but I'm not a fan either. Like, it just kind of like it. I didn't see it in my radar at all. They need a lot of help on offensive line. They need a lot of help with the quarterback position. They need a lot of help. You know what I mean? Like, there's so many other positions they could have did.
And I know that Kalijah Kancey is the one guy that had a really productive year this year.
He did.
And people really fell in love with him. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't touch him before the second round.
He tested really well, so that's why
I wouldn't touch him until the second round.
Yeah. No, I agree.
I mean, about a guy that was a fourth round pick when the season started.
Mm-hmm.
And there's only one Aaron Donald. Let's make that same. I know it's easy to say, oh, he's Pittsburgh guy. He plays like Aaron Donald. There's only one Aaron Donald, man.
Correct.
Okay. Only one Aaron Donald. only one Reggie White, only one Bruce Smith, only one Lawrence Taylor. That's why they're those guys, okay, dude? Only one of those guys, dude. This guy's going to be an okay player. Don't get me wrong.
I agree.
Come in on third downs, and they're going to put him next to a fat slob next to him. He's going to take up two, you know what I mean? There's a big defensive tackle that takes up blocks, and he's going to get one-on-one penetration. He's going to be a good, solid player. He's going to be a third-down player, though. And you drafted him in the top 20, and he's a third-down situational pass rusher. Sorry, can't do it.
I agree. All right, number 20. Another pick that surprised me a little bit, but I liked it a lot. Seahawks taking Jackson Smith and Jigba. I love the pick. I just thought they was gonna get a pass rusher earlier.
I did too, but no, man. Especially if you look at, we're not gonna get into the rest of the draft. They kind of took care of that spot a little later in the draft.
Yeah.
And this kid's a player, man. And now you put him in the slot next to the players they had there already, man.
DK, Tyler Lockett.
You know,
Tyler Lockett. The thing is, Tyler Lockett been kind of injury prone too the last couple of years.
Right. So now you
can slide outside if he gets injured.
You cut his plays, give Njigba his plays. Now you got him playing in the slot. I mean, yo, man, you know who's happy? The quarterback is happy. Yes. He's like, yes.
I just got and I got some weapons.
I got some more ammunition. I'm good. Let's go. You know?
Time.
This is really, honestly, for Seattle, this is more normal than ever, man. This is shocking almost.
The last 2 years, man. If there is a team that's gonna be close to the Eagles, I think it's the Seahawks. I thought it was the Seahawks before this draft even started, honestly.
I think like you said, I think like them drafting Witherspoon, and I know I'm backtracking like 15 spots now, but them drafting Witherspoon, and now that you can move Kobe Bryant in and let him play some nickel, maybe even some safety.
Yeah.
They really – the Seattle's going to be a good team this year. They are.
It's scary. It's scary.
Yep.
All right, let's get to the next team because Seattle started a little trend here for the next 4 picks. So we're going to get receivers. Chargers taking Quentin Johnston right here. Right, I don't hate the pick. I thought there was a better receiver right there. I would have took Addison.
Here's what bothers me about it more than that. That they already have 2 receivers just like him. And now they got another one, and they're going to be in each other's way.
Yeah.
I would have taken, like you said, you could have taken Jordan Addison there. You could have taken Zay Flowers, and that would have been a nice mixture of a little different. Can't have salt and salt.
I get it in a sense because Mike Williams is on a contract year, I believe. So is Keenan Allen. I believe they're both on contract years. Keenan Allen is getting old. So that's the number one reason why I thought they could have got a wide receiver here. But Mike Evans, like you're saying, Mike Evans and Quentin Johnston, big guys. They got a whole bunch of big guys. They don't have if anything, I would have got the guy that's older. I would have got a player that's more similar to the older guy, who's I think is Jordan Addison to Keenan Allen. I would have got somebody to kind of replace him and do this kind of same things to him than the younger guy, even though he's on his last year of his contract. But you still have a chance to re-sign him if he does play well and he does stay healthy.
I mean, see, that was my problem with it, though. Like, now you're already telling me you're not re-signing Mike Williams.
Yeah.
And now you're not, and you didn't do anything to improve the team really this year.
Mm-hmm.
And you have a quarterback who's going to be making big money in the next couple of years, and you're wasting the season, basically. I mean, I just don't and again, this is why the Chargers are the Chargers, but it's fine. I like it better that way. I don't need any more competition. I got enough already.
Yeah, no, I agree. So, hey, don't hate the player. It's just
I like the player, but I think Quentin Johnston is a nice possession guy, like Mike Williams.
Yeah, definitely.
Why do you need another one of those guys?
No, I agree.
You need somebody with some speed, some spice, man. Come on.
Pick it up, guys. Pick it up. Speaking of some spice, The Ravens got some spice with some Zay, a little Zay flowers right there, a little spice right there. Speedy guy, fast guy. What do you think about Zay being at that spot, right?
Love it. I think he's a guy that, if, of course, we're going to go over later about Lamar Jackson being re-signed. Good for Lamar Jackson. But he gets a guy, again, a little different than what you have. Odell's more of a possession guy now at this stage of his career. He runs his routes, and he has good hands. He'll get open and he'll catch the ball. You give him a guy like, and this is why I like Flowers, because he'll run crossing routes. You can put him up in your backfield, get the ball to him quickly. And man, I don't like Boston College, but I respect their players because they're tough.
Stop lying. Stop lying. You in love with that team, man.
I am not, but they do. Their players are well coached and they're usually pretty smart.
No, I agree. All right, let's get to our next pick. The last receiver in the first round, Vikings taking Jordan Addison. I mean, people irk me sometimes because they're like, why the Vikings get a receiver? Why they get that guy? I'm like, I think he was the best receiver in the first round outside of Njigba. He was my favorite. He was my favorite, personally, my favorite wide receiver. And you got two really good route runners for a Kirk Cousins. He needs that.
He does.
That's going to be amazing for him.
Yes, it's a great pick.
Great pick.
Great pick.
Complaining about this.
You have two guys that are good route runners with a quarterback who likes to get his only plus is he throws good timing patterns.
Yeah,
he doesn't have a great arm.
Mm-mm.
I mean, he get downfield okay, but he needs guys that run good routes. And then why do you think him and Jefferson were so good together? Even the white kid that used to play there, he was a good route runner. It wasn't he was a burner. He needs guys that run good routes and run the good spots because he's not that good at anything else except for throwing decent timing patterns.
No,
it's a great pick, dude. It's an A. I gave it an A. Addison was a top 15 player in this draft.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Yeah. Don't want that on that one. All right, let's get to another great pick. I don't like it as much because he's in my division, but I had to applaud them because, Ray, this is one of our favorite players. We were talking about this in our mock draft. Deontay Banks going to the Giants. Man, why did you do this to me? Why did you do this?
I mean, the crazy thing is, and this is what I mean, and this is why what really makes it even crazier. Washington takes Emmanuel Forbes instead of Christian Gonzalez.
Or DeAndre Banks.
Here's what would happen, though. If they do the right thing and take Gonzalez, the Patriot would have taken Banks.
Mm-hmm.
I'm almost positive. If you were going to draft a corner, Deontay Banks is a way better player than damn Emmanuel Forbes. Come on, man.
Don't get me wrong. I like his ability. I
think Forbes with his speed and he's got decent height.
Yeah.
He's 65 pounds. He's a nickel or a dime back right now.
You want to hear something funny, Ray? They asked Emmanuel Forbes, if there's one player that you would like to play in the NFL, who would you like to play? Guess who he said?
No idea. Who?
The Slim Reaper.
Oh, well, you know what? That makes sense. Same body type, though.
Same body type. I mean, dude, like the skinniest guy.
You said yourself, though. If he has to go out there against Brown, he's going to get eaten alive.
And you know what's funny? The last time they played, Smith put 250 yards on him.
Really?
So, yeah.
I don't think I would like that too much.
Yeah. I mean, that was pretty much the reason why he said it. But I'm like, dude, why would you wish that upon yourself? Like, that was such a bad answer.
What a shame.
All right. Let's get to our next pick. I love this pick. The Bills trade up to get Dalton Kincaid. I absolutely love this pick. I'm very curious what you think, Ray. I know this is your divisional rival. I'm very curious what you think about it. I absolutely love. I mean, I know it's Dalton Kincaid, and I have a little crush on Utah and Utah players. I really like Dalton Kincaid, but I think this fits so well with what they're trying to do. They have another receiver to help them out. Also, he's a tight end, and they got Dawson Knox, who can be their inline blocking type of tight end, where they can flank Dawson Kincaid out. When you bring both of them in, everybody's automatically gonna be like, "Oh, this is gonna be 12 personnel, just 12 personnel," and then all of a sudden, Dawson Kincaid goes out at wide receiver. Dude, I love that idea. I love the idea of that. Like, Ray, what's your opinion on this? I want to take a voice.
I think it's a good pick. I think
He can't hold back.
I don't know.
Just say it was a good pick, right?
It was a good, solid pick, man. I think. See, my problem is I don't think he's the best tight end in the draft, but I think he fits their offense better because they already have a guy who's.
We're gonna talk about that next week for sure. I know exactly what you mean, and I'm kind of confused on that too. But we'll say that for next week. But yeah, go ahead, Ray. I'm sorry for cutting you off.
But I think, like you said, I think he fits. You could have went wide receiver. You could have went a couple of different ways there. You wanted to get another pass catcher, I believe. I think that the problem with the Bills is their offense isn't balanced enough. Mm-hmm. I think this guy there's two ways of helping you run the ball a little better. One is obviously to have good running backs. Yeah. Two is, and that with that, a good offensive line. But three is have a good vertical tight end that can split the seam. That will take some that needs safety help and take it away from the line of scrimmage. So I think he's a good player who will fit what they want to do on offense. But again, I don't think he was the best tight end in the draft. So I have a little problem not taking the best tight end here. Even though I do think he fits with the tight end they have already.
You just took
even though I think the guy that they probably could have taken or maybe should have taken is a little bit like their tight end now. They're similar players. So
yeah,
I get what they're trying to do. We'll see if it works.
Definitely.
Yeah.
All right. Next pick was my favorite pick of the draft.
Really?
I got the biggest laugh. Dude, like that was Comedy Central for me. I laughed at this pick. Not only because I didn't have this player as a first round pick. Not only because it's the Cowboys, but they allowed another player to slide down, and the Eagles got him. And I was like, "Oh, you're so idiots!" And that would be the Cowboys selecting Mozzie Smith. Now, again, I am a Michigan fan, but I did not have a first round grade on Mozzie Smith. You take a guy in the first round just to clog up space, dude. Like that's a problem for me. Just to clog up space, because that's really all he is. Like he's not gonna give you a lot of TFLs. He's not gonna give you a lot of. He's good at run defense. Don't get me wrong. He's gonna be able to shed some of those blocks, but he's not gonna help you in the passing game. He's not like he's just a guy to be in a spot. Like it's gonna. I think that's gonna. I do think it's a good pick in the sense of it's gonna help. What's his name out? The edge rusher. I think of his name. But Mozzie Smith at 26, when you have Miles Murphy, Brian Breesy, who I thought was a way better pick there, or Nolan Smith, you had your choice. You got Mozzie Smith over those guys. I had a great week one, man. I love it. Right, I want to know what you think about this.
I agree with you, man. I didn't think Mozzie Smith was a first-round player, not even close. And I think Brian Breesy would have been a way better pick. Miles Murphy would have been a better pick. I'm not as big on Nolan Smith as other people are. And I think that he fits a certain type of a defense, and Dallas doesn't really use that type of a defense.
I give you that.
So I don't think he fits as well, but I do think that Breezy or Murphy would have fit. And Mozzie Smith is like you said, he's a nice, solid player. And here's the thing: he's going to play probably. He's probably going to do a decent job.
Yeah.
But again, not the value that you could have gotten there. That's all.
That was the laugh of the draft. I yelled so loud laughing. I was just like I had to get on the live and just laugh at it because it was and it's so like
it's not
so
as bad as taking the
Cowboys.
running back at 8.
It's so Cowboys because they keep grabbing our worst Michigan guys. Like, stop.
No, that's true.
They do. They pick our worst Michigan guys.
They do, man.
Except, and we're gonna talk about this later. I'm gonna spoil this a little bit. Luke Shoemaker was actually a good pick. I'm not gonna lie. A little high.
No, he's fine. He's fine. No, he's a good player.
He's such a Cowboy.
Remember who was it? Taco Charlton? Was he the edge rusher that Michigan had a couple of years ago?
Yup.
I was drafted him too, right?
Yup. And they got our corner. I forgot his name too. I think he might actually still be on the team. Oh man, and he was not good. It was like, hey, I could get all our lesser players just fine. I mean, I guess whatever. I hate it because I had to go against my Michigan guys, but I've not been doing good drafting. So hey, all right, let's get to our next pick. Let's get our last couple because we're running a little long.
You got it, man.
Let me be real quick with this. Jaguars taking Antoine Harris. What do you think about that one, Ray?
Good, solid pick. I mean, he needed offensive lineman.
Yeah.
Hook him in
solid. Didn't love it. It was solid.
There's nothing sexy about it. It's fine.
Yeah. I think it could have been a couple of other things they could have did there. I still think. I thought actually, I was sure that Cam Smith was gonna go here. Actually,
I thought they would
take the second round. What'd you say, Ray?
I was surprised they didn't take a corner or a defensive back. I was.
I thought they would him or Brian Branch, but
yeah,
it is what it is. I mean, don't if Anthony Harris was gonna go, I literally thought the last 4 or 5 picks. So, next pick was the Bengals getting Miles Murphy. What do you think about that one, Ray?
Great pick.
That's really great pick. Yeah. I was expecting them to get a tight end honestly here. They got Luce Musgrave round 2, so I didn't hate it too much.
Yeah, I mean, plus I know I never I probably would have taken Michael Mayer here. I probably would have.
Yeah.
But again, I never criticize a team for taking a shot on an edge, like a defensive lineman or an offensive lineman.
100%.
And Miles Murphy, to me, was a top 20 player.
Yeah.
He got at the end of the first round. That's a good, solid pick.
I agree. 29, the Saints get Bryce Breezy. I think this was a steal, actually. I like this.
This is a great pick. Again, same thing as Miles Murphy, top 20 player. You get him at the end of the first round, you're doing a good job.
Yes, sir. All right, and then we're going to get to the Eagles getting some dogs. Mr. Nolan Smith. I love this pick because it was like people was thinking that the Eagles going to get him a 10.
Yeah.
So to come back, not only come back and get a guy that's from Georgia that's can help out Jalen Carter as well. And I actually said that in one of our mocks that Jalen Carter and Nolan Smith could go to the same team. I had them going to the Seahawks, but I did say that.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that if you wait to 30, you had to take that pick. Like there was no other pick outside of Nolan Smith at 30, and I think that was a really good pick. You got a guy that's very similar to Hassan Reddick, where you already kind of know what you can do with him. Move him around, have him on the outside, blitz on the outside, and then if you have him and Reddick on the same on the field at the same time, you have one going coverage and one blitz, and then you can switch it up. So I love that idea. I love that ideology on that. Ray, what do you think about it?
As like I said, I'm not a huge Nolan Smith guy. I do think he's somewhat scheme specific, but he fits the Eagles scheme perfectly. Mm-hmm. So I mean, I gave it a good solid B+ in a grade. I think it's a good move. I think it's a good move for them. Mm-hmm. Again, he has to be on a certain team. The Eagles are just one of them teams that he matches up perfectly with. Again, and not that Jalen Carter needs a babysitter, but it can't hurt to have another guy that he's comfortable with. to lean on, and again, man, they know each other. The defense is basically, man, like what players didn't go to Georgia on the Eagles defense next year. And you get Ringo in the 4th round, but we'll get way ahead of myself, which if it wasn't for, I don't know exactly what his injuries were, but apparently there's some medical stuff on him.
Really?
Yeah. Wow, that was why he fell. Yeah, I don't know, Jerome. I don't know what exactly it is.
I didn't hear about that either.
I heard there's some medical reports about something not being exactly right. Yeah, the kid was a top 2-round player.
Yeah.
It makes sense. But again, man, you don't need him right away. So you can shelf him for next year if you have to. Get him healthy. And again, the Eagles have done a great job building up front. That's why they win. I don't know where Jerome went, but I'm sure he'll be back any minute.
Sorry, I kicked myself out.
There he is.
But yeah, I totally agree with you. I think that it's a great pick for the Eagles. The Eagles did a great job. I'm over the hills about what the Eagles did. And we'll definitely along the lines talk about them even more and more and more. And I don't want to talk about them too much because everybody else is already doing it for us. And I kind of hate that actually. I don't like being so nationally loved. I like when people actually hate us. It just, I don't know. I feel like we feed off of that, like the hate. Now everybody's loving us. It's just like, oh God, like what's gonna happen? That gets me a little nervous, but it is what it is. All right, last pick is for the Chiefs. Felix Duke Umaza.
And Duke Uzama.
Ooh. I like that, Ray. Good job.
What
do you think about this pick?
I'm not a big fan.
Me neither. I honestly it was hard for me to even say it was a good or bad pick because I don't know anything about this kid. And the funny thing, I feel like I watch a lot of Kansas State. I don't remember him on the field, so I didn't get a chance to watch tape on him, so I don't know much about him. But that also tells me that he wasn't ever on my radar at all, as far as names to know. So I did hear last minute that he was rising up boards. I did hear that. But I feel like
you know why, Jerome? Because he ran a good 40.
Mm.
But again, man, I don't draft 40 times.
No, for real, I agree.
I mean, his production was average. He had 4.5 sacks.
Yeah. You think that the Nolan Smith slide affected that though?
I think maybe they probably would have liked to have Nolan Smith instead, and I get that part of it. But again, you know what? I'm surprised. You had Joey Porter there. You had Michael Mayer there. You had Derek Hall there. You had Isaiah Foskey there.
Shoot, Brian Branch there.
And their positions usually Andy Reid takes. I don't get this pick.
Yeah.
It's almost like honestly, they feel there's something they say in the kid. And maybe they're going to put him and they're not expecting to get a whole lot out of him next year. But I do think that they think it will be a third down guy who can come in and give him pass rush.
I will say this, Ray. I will say this. As much as we praise Andy Reid for taking offensive to the defensive line, if you really think about it, what high draft pick edge rusher that Andy Reid ever drafted? If you really think about that, he never drafted good defensive line high. And I think that's why he drafted so many.
Graham.
He did great. But remember, Graham took a while to actually develop.
Yeah,
Graham was
looking like
a bust for a while.
Yeah, because they kept trying to make him into an outside linebacker.
Yeah, that's true too. But that was after.
No, you're right. That was Chip Kelly regime. You're right.
Yeah, that was Chip Kelly.
Jerome, honestly, yeah, I agree.
The best defensive lineman they had was Trent Cole. He was like what, a 5th rounder, something like that.
Yeah, well, Roy, that's a great pick, though, man.
I love Trent Cole. Don't get me wrong.
Great pick,
But
man.
I'm saying, like, as many times as Andy Reid been drafting defensive linemen,
Yeah, you're right
think
about
about
that.
it.
Well, yeah,
None of them really panned out.
you're right about that.
The
That's
only one that probably had the most talent was Jerome McDougal, and he got shot. And he was after that, he was not the same.
You're right about that, Jerome. He really was not as productive. Like, none of the guys have been that productive that he's drafted.
Yeah,
but he loves his defensive lineman, though.
yeah,
So,
he does.
you know what they've done, though? He's always drafted good interior defensive linemen.
Yeah. Who did he draft though? And even that, just I'm trying.
Well, you know what it is, though, also, Jerome? The one kid they drafted, like his second year on the team, I don't remember his name, but he was really good for a few years, but then he left as a free agent, so I don't remember what his name was, though.
We got a comment here real quick. Felix freshman year was insane for an 18-year-old. I hate NFL. Thank you. I hate NFL. Appreciate you being on. You look like you're a new commenter. I appreciate you. I heard that he had a good freshman year, but 18-year-old freshman year.
Actually, looking up his stats right now, Jerome. I don't see his stats on here anywhere, to be honest with you.
Who, Felix?
Yeah, I thought he only had like a handful of sacks last year.
Yeah, I can look real quick if I can before we get off. Let's see. All right, so according to ESPN, he had. Oh man, they showed me his NFL stuff. Yeah, they got him on the NFL spot already. Can I get him in college? Come on, man. Here it is. Hold on. So let's see here. Stats. So this is from Kansas State. He had a career. He had. Where is it? There it is. He had 20 sacks total in his career. He had 8.5 last year, 11 in 2021, and 1 in 2022. So
solid.
Yeah. I mean, he had two good years, two solid years.
Solid. Actually, it's better than Will McDonald's were last year.
Yeah.
So,
stat wise, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, man. Like, again, I'm sure they'll get production out of them.
Mm-hmm.
You can hide edge guys too.
Yeah.
You can get production out of them. Especially if you put them in good situations.
Definitely.
And I do think I like Spagnuolo, their coach. I think he gets good production out of his guys usually. I mean, again, you're the Chiefs, man. Do whatever you want. You're good.
You're right. Hey, Super Bowl winners.
You're good.
Super Bowl winners. You can take chances.
That's right, man.
So
maybe you see something in this kid that no one has seen yet.
That's definitely true. True. Well, that's gonna do it for us today, guys. Hope you enjoyed this episode of our round 1 recap. Let us know what you think. What you think about some of our comments on some of the players and some of the picks. Let us know what you thought maybe something should have happened. What was your biggest surprise in the draft? Let us know. Put in comment section below. As you've seen, our guy, Mr. I Hate NFL, very ironic name, but Mr. Ironic I Hate NFL put a live chat in here, and you could do that anytime you're on here live. And if you want to know when we are live, hit that notification button right under Ray, right over there. Okay, there you go, right under there, and then you can like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you know when we are live, so you can watch live and do that. And like I said, if you can't go live, it's fine. Hit a comment under. We reply to every comment that you put in our comment section. So please do that. That helps us. That supports us, and let us keep doing what we do. And we love doing this. So thank you guys so much for all the support. Next week we'll be going to day 2, which means round 2, and then round 3. We're gonna try our best to kind of blaze through some of that stuff because we took a lot of time today. But it was the first round. Why not? It's the first round. So Thank you guys so much. I hope you enjoy your day. I'm Jerome Jones. That's Ray Roberts. Thank you guys so much for being in here and checking us out. And make sure you check out all our other great stuff on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at InsideTheHashes.com. Thank you so much. Have a great day. Peace.